that's been quite inspiring. The minute I saw you, I said, "Ah, okay, maybe those ritualists time again has come." Those movies we used to watch. It's quite inspiring. Now, I want to know your biography before acting. Can you share a bit of who was Charles Okafor before the screen?
Thank you. Welcome to my office. My name is Charles Okafor, as you know.
Yeah.
I'm the fourth in a family of six. I hail from Umweri. Umweri is in the Anambra East local government area of Anambra State. Well, if you must know, Umweri is where you have the Chino Achebe International Passenger Cargo Airport, the newest airport in Nigeria, but with the longest tarmac in Africa. That's very important. I attended St. Gregory's College, Ikoyi, for my post-primary education, and then went on to the University of Port Harcourt for my first degree in theatre arts, then of course to the University of Lagos for my master's degree in political science with special bias in international relations. I'm a career actor. You call me veteran actor. I am an international advocacy filmmaker. That's where I am.
So how did Nollywood come into the picture? At what point did you decide
It's interesting because Nollywood wasn't in the cards. In all sincerity, I had served with the Securities and Exchange Commission. By the way, the Securities and Exchange Commission is the apex regulatory body of the Nigerian capital market. The capital market is the long-term arm of the Nigerian financial system, all right, regulated by SEC, while the short-term arm, the money market, is regulated by the Central Bank of Nigeria, even though Central Bank still regulates the entire Nigerian financial system. I was a youth corper at the time, and I had the opportunity of serving in the corporate affairs department, which was what took me to NTA at the time, to prepare the team that was supposed to join a contingent to Harare, Zimbabwe, for an international conference on attracting investments into the Nigeria, into not just the Nigerian capital market, but the regional capital market at the time. Once I was done with that assignment, I made to return to the office in the official vehicle that had brought me to NTA headquarters at the time, on Ahmadu Bello Way, and a voice called from behind me. That voice eventually became my first director on television.
Wow. His
name actually is Last Eguavon. I can't forget his name in 1,000 years. Last said he saw me from across the window of his office and felt that I fitted into who would play a role in the only soap opera network at the time of NTA, titled Memorial Hospital. Long story cut short, I started my journey, in this particular path, television, and playing the role of Dr. Sheung Peters. So a year and a half down the line, I became more of a household name nationally. I didn't see Nollywood coming, but sooner than later, I had the opportunity of being invited to be a part of an audition for a major home video at the time, produced and directed by the Sheikh himself, Zeb Ejiro. I remember that audition took place at Olufemi Shokon Street, very close to Pako Abuda here in Lagos. I landed the role. The rest, they say, is history. And with that, our journey, to this beautiful, positive global brand of Nigeria called Nollywood started.
Wow. So can you, based on your history and your knowledge of Nollywood, can you just share a brief of Nollywood history from its foundation?
As much as I know, filmmaking in the structured form within the home video compartment gained some level of national visibility with the success of Living in Bondage, produced by Chief Kent Nebwe. He was the managing director of NEC Video Links Limited. It was a bold move to tell the story of our world, our worldview, as it were, at the time. Living in Bondage, paraded arguably some of the finest actors, and within the context and framework of the technology of the time, became a blockbuster. And with the success of Living in Bondage, it sparked off, as it were, a lot of attraction and appeal into what today has become Nollywood as you know it. But I must say very quickly that before Living in Bondage, there had been clusters of home video productions, even though they didn't hit the kind of Clyde light that Living in Bondage hit. Within the Yoruba film ecosystem, that were very well made, very creative, very content driven pieces. And then, of course, in the southeast, you had the likes of Mike Uri, Hedema, and all of those. Of course, so they were there, and they made their marks, no doubt, but not as much, comparatively speaking, as Living in Bondage, at the time made, and it now, became a blowout that gave birth, along with a few others, to what we have today.
Who are some of the pioneers then?
Their names now. The pioneers of the time. What is his name? Francis. Francis is dead now. Beautiful actor. Then of course you have Ken Okonkwo. You have what is his name? Ogweji Ofo. Forgotten his first name. Beautiful, brilliant guy. Of course, Ngozi Nwosu and a few others at the time were in Living in Bondage. We still remember them with profound respect for what they did.
Now, looking back, what was one of your first role, if you can remember, in Nollywood, and how has it impacted your career so far?
Domitila by Zeb Ejiro, along with its challenges at the time. Domitila stood out for me. Again, you must appreciate that I had journeyed from television to home video, and it was a very profound experience, running the distinctions, in terms of creative interpretation of all of those. And Domitila, then Obsession, produced and directed by the late Chico Ejiro, the younger brother of the Sheikh, Zeb Ejiro. And then progressively, some others began to fall into. Yeah.
Which of them, of all the movies you have acted, which of them had the most impact on you?
This is one question that will take eternity to answer, because each work of art, from the point of view of role interpretation, stands out with its accompanying challenges, experiences, interpretations. No two works of art are the same, stricto sensu. But I would say that, of course, I've done Rituals, Oracle, so many. But even on Balize came with its huge challenge. But Conspiracy. Why Conspiracy? My humble self, painfully, the young man that played my twin brother, Amechi Monago, I've forgotten his name, had gone to be with the Lord. I forgot, not Amechi Monago. I will remember his name. If I remember, I'll pull his name. Then, of course, Onyeko Owenu, who played the deranged woman that had twin children, my humble self, and the guy whose name I can't remember. God bless his soul. But conspiracy challenged the very essence of my entire creative calling, from the point of view of what message you're putting out and the advocacy that that message intended to resonate, within the critical mass of as many people that saw conspiracy as possible, not just in Nigeria but globally. Conspiracy was very moving from the point of view of the emotive expressions of what injustice could do, the level of diabolism that actually led an innocent woman to becoming a mad woman, and what she went through carrying the pregnancy, carrying the pregnancy of twin children and living, in a refuse dump and all of those. Conspiracy actually ticked off all the indices of entertainment, therapeutic interpretation, content, and then perhaps a message against all forms of evil in its varied interpretations. So, conspiracy for me.
Now, what do you think are some of the major challenges that the Nollywood industry face as of then and then now?
Whoa, then was the challenge of funding. You must appreciate that in the 90s, those who took the bold initiative to invest in filmmaking, home video production, were young men majorly who had just gained their settlement from apprenticeship, and with the success of living in bondage, saw a window of prosperity opportunity and decided to brave, all odds to take the risk. It was indeed a risk because, if they had been through 6 years of apprenticeship, there was no way a man who had, understudied his oga for 6 years in the line of, say, electronics business and all that, could just go into filmmaking that he didn't have any level of tutelage. So, I remember the likes of OJ Productions, so Geoffrey Zanye, and many others like him. But the capital they had at the time was limited. And yes, the films actually came out in our definition of the time, well-made films. Looking back now, you will see that there were so many technical absences from the works of those years, but they stood out at the time. And so limited capital was a challenge. It is not so much capital now because we are going cinematic. Most of our movies are gaining traction at film festivals across the world. So we can now afford to go into highfalutin, capital-intensive projects. But the challenge for me is the departure, not deliberately, inadvertent departure from content. We need to return and recalibrate our storytelling space, ecosystem. Everywhere that I've been in the world, I always make boast to say that Africa has a glut of stories. No, nobody, not even Hollywood can match Africa in storytelling? Is it from the